Let's have a controversial discussion. I feel like a lot of people agree with this, but they don't want to say it out loud in case they offend people. But if you disagree with me, let me know why in the comments, because to me, it's just common sense. About 10 minutes ago, I seen a video of a little girl skating in a living room on synthetic ice, and in the comments people were saying, I love seeing rich people do rich people things. And I thought, surely it doesn't cost that much. So when I looked it up, you could get it for about £200. And I get that £200 is a lot of money to some people, but to say that that's only accessible to rich people is just simply not true. Other than the fact that I absolutely detest people telling others how to spend their money, I understand that spending £200 on synthetic ice is a luxury, but it turned out she won it, so that wasn't even the point. Then, about 2 minutes before I decided to make this video, I seen a video of a guy talking about his £9,000 gender reveal party that his mum ruined, and people are in the comments like, that's a waste of money, why are you spending that at a gender reveal party? Well, he's doing it because he's got it and he wants to, and it's none of your fucking business. So what I really don't understand is that when you look at comments, people are so quick to say, you shouldn't be spending $30 on a burger, you shouldn't be spending X amount on a car, but yet when people make videos about not having money to feed their kids or not having money to buy their kids school clothes or whatever else, nobody's saying, well, if you can't afford to look after your kids, why are you having them? For a while I've wanted a Brussels Griffon, but I would rather adopt a dog than buy one. All the ones that I see up for adoption are like 12 and 13 years old, so they're going to need a lot of vet bills paid and stuff like that. So I'm planning ahead and I'm thinking, realistically, unless I have got a ton of money, I should not get an older dog because I've got a responsibility. So why are people who are skint as fuck having kids? It shouldn't be allowed. Years ago, I used to watch Benefits Britain with my ex, which I hated because I felt as if it was just propaganda to get the public to hate unemployed people and make them all look as if they're lazy and they just don't want to work, which is simply not the case. However, I remember watching it once and this woman was complaining that she didn't have enough money to look after her kids, and in the background she had a box of Lucky Charms. Now, I didn't have a lot of money at the time and I thought, Lucky Charms? It's like a £5 a box for Lucky Charms, not even Mighty Mateys, right? Lucky Charms. So she has got money, she's just spending it on the wrong things. But there was this couple in it who I absolutely couldn't stand. They were always complaining, oh, we're on benefits and we can't even afford to get the bus to the job centre. Then all of a sudden one week they had a dog. And I thought, you can't afford a bus but you can afford dog food. But to make matters even worse, a couple of episodes later, they sat their family down and announced that they were planning on trying for a baby. And I thought, no, that should not be allowed. Understand that situations happen and people are married and maybe they get divorced or their partner dies and they lose their job and like they lose their money and it's unexpected and these things happen and they end up in poverty. But when somebody is already poor, and I mean they are skint as fuck, and then they decide that they're going to have a baby, it just shouldn't be allowed. I remember years ago when they introduced the baby box to Scotland and I was watching it on the TV and they were saying this box doubles up as a cot in case the baby doesn't have anywhere to sleep. And I thought, right, okay, I haven't known them personally, but I've known of girls who have got pregnant and not even known, and they've went to the hospital thinking that there was something else wrong with them, and then they've had a baby. And I'm like, right, okay, in that situation, that might be needed. But when she was going through the other things in the box, she was like nappies, food formula, whatever else you get. And she says, oh, we've got these vests because some people can't even afford a fresh vest. And I thought, well, why the fuck are they allowed to have kids then? You can go on Vinted and you can buy 6 vests for like £1.50. Aye, okay, it's not brand new, but it looks brand new. Realistically, how often does a baby use a vest before it grows out of it? It's just absolutely insane to me. And I was talking to somebody in work about this last week, and I was talking about the advert that used to be on with the wee boy that went to school and he pulled out his lunchbox and when he opened it there was nothing in it and he went to the toilet and when he came back everybody in the class had put food in his lunchbox. And when I watched that I thought, well, if somebody cannot afford to give their child a sandwich or a fucking banana or the cheapest fucking fruit going for their lunch, then they shouldn't be allowed to have kids. And the person that I work with says, oh, well, I didn't have money when I had my wean, so that would have been me. And I says, right, but did you give your wean food? At least did you give it at least a sandwich for lunch? Aye. I says, well, that's not you then. There's people who are sending their weans to school, no breakfast, no lunch, and they go home, are they even getting dinner? Who knows? They're starving. Why are these people allowed to have children? It should be against the law. Now, I think we can agree that a lot of people don't want to say this out loud because it's discrimination. It's discrimination against poor people. But then you could say, you don't let under 18s into a bar to drink. Is that discrimination? No, it's necessary. It's necessary because they're under 18 and their bodies aren't equipped to drink alcohol if they ever are. So why are people who can't afford to give their child a sandwich or to spend 50 pence on a fucking vest allowed to have kids? Now, I know a lot of people will say accidents happen. Right, okay, accidents happen. Now what are you going to do? You're going to bring a child into severe poverty. Now, I know people who got pregnant when they were young and they didn't have any money, but they had a good support system and now they're absolutely thriving. But there's people out there who don't have any support system, and to be honest, you shouldn't have to rely on other people to look after your kids for you. A lot of people out there get pregnant deliberately because they think that they're going to keep their man or because they want a house. I will never forget the time I was in a public toilet and I heard a schoolgirl say, oh, maybe I should get pregnant and have a wean because then I'll get a house faster. And her friend says, oh, who'll look after the wean when you're out at the weekend? And she says, oh, my mum will just look after it. This is the mentality, people. This is what people actually think. And it just baffles me. Like, can you honestly say that if there's somebody out there who has no money to get to a job centre, no money to get to the doctors for doctor's appointments or get to the hospital, they can't even afford a bus, that they people should be allowed to have kids? Now, I'm not talking about that woman who said she's skint and she had the Lucky Charms cereal at £5 a box. I'm talking about people who are literally skint and they can't go into Poundland and get 2 vests for £1. It's shocking. It just shouldn't be allowed.